Hi, everybody. It's Michelle Jackson. I am here for our final interviews with our authors coming in for the Black Ink Book Festival on May 3rd at City Park's Pavilion of the Two Sisters. That's May 3rd. That's a Saturday from 11 to 3 o'clock. We will have over 50 authors from around the country come into New Orleans to share their work with us. They want to meet you. They want to talk to you about their work, their writing, their passion for putting all their energy on the page. And we're excited to have them come out. So we have invited a few of them for the last 2 nights. We've had 13 of the authors to come on with us and to talk about their books. And so this is a great time for you, as someone who loves books, to talk with these authors and spend some time and get your questions answered. So tonight we have 5 authors who are with us, and they're going to be sharing their books, what inspired them to write the books. And we're going to talk a little bit about Black Ink and why it's so important that we continue to support our new and independent authors, and why it is so important that we can continue to promote literacy in the city of New Orleans and across the country. It is so, so vital. So thank you for being with us tonight. We do ask that you follow us on YouTube and on Facebook, that you subscribe to our YouTube channel. And we ask that you become a part of the Black Writers Workspace, which is an online community of over 17,000 writers and readers. In the meantime, let's bring on our authors so we can get to know them. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Hello. I said 5, I mean 4. We're probably going to have more to jump on, but needless to say, we are here tonight to talk about our books, and that's what's important. So the first thing we want to do is to tell you what May 3rd is all about, right? It is about authors. Black and brown authors are going to be in New Orleans to talk about their work. And this is something I'm very passionate about because everyone knows me. They know I love writing. I've written 3 books. 2 of my books are award winning. I have had an amazing time being a public relations person here in New Orleans. I write press releases. Oh my goodness. I do a lot of storytelling. I do social media management for people. But more than anything, I love to write fiction. And so I have 2 books. One is Christian fiction, the other is women's fiction. And my third book is a graphic novel that was designed to help young people learn to create businesses, which is something I'm very passionate about as well. I teach youth entrepreneurship for Tulane. And so that's something I'm really, really excited about. So tonight we get to meet everybody. And we're going to start with Miss Devine, who's going to talk to us about her book, tell us about herself, and show us the book if she's got it. And we're going to just get to kind of dig in there and learn as much as we possibly can about her. So, Salita, tell us, talk to us about yourself.
All right. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm certainly excited to be here. My name is Salita Devine. I am a Mississippi native. I am in Byram, Mississippi. I am an instructional coach. I'm a speaker and a new author. I have spent over 20 years in education, really with the focus of helping to build teacher capacity. And that's the line of my career that I'm in at this particular time. Super excited about helping teachers and helping students become the best version of themselves. In addition to that, I am a wife, a mother, a Mimi. And so I'm just really excited to be here and really excited for the opportunity as well to share this stage with other amazing authors.
So you are a new writer. Talk to us about the process. I mean, was it difficult to write your book? Did it something that just flowed, or was it something that was inspired by? Did you just feel like this is the moment? I've got to do this, even if I have to push myself to do it. I've got to make this happen. Talk to us about writing that first book.
Okay. For my first book, I think my passion just came from seeing a lot of gaps within education. Like I said, I've been in education for over 20 years. So I moved from the classroom to a building instructional coach. And then I had an opportunity to work for a couple of consulting firms. Just recently, in the last couple of years, I do have my own consulting firm, and it is Diverse Learning Practices. And within the name, you hear diversity. And so one thing, even with coaching teachers, I learned that there has to be different plans of actions depending on where those teachers are. So the passion to write the book came from that particular passion of just seeing those gaps and the importance of teachers having strong coaches in the building who actually know how to move them in the direction that they want to go. And so here is a copy of the book right there. And you can kind of see at the top, you have a classroom of teachers that are kind of going through professional development. And then at the bottom, you have what looks like just a playbook from sports. And so I tried to mesh the two to just show that good coaching, whether you're coaching people, if you're in a classroom or even if you're in a business, it's very similar. Good coaching is just good coaching. So within the books, the name of the book is So You Think You Can Coach 10 Instructional Plays That Build Teacher Capacity. So the outline of it is plays because I was an athlete back in the day. And so I like that spin on it. And so I'm just giving some tips on how to actually work with people, adult education, basically. And then you will also see a blend. I had an opportunity to actually interview several coaches where they talk about how they would motivate their players. And then we can see the similarity that there are a lot of same things that you're going to do, whether you're on the court, on the field, or in the classroom.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being with us. I love that. I am an athlete as well, played volleyball for years. And I have such a love for coaches. So even in my work as a public relations person, I do a lot of executive coaching. And so I love the idea of using these playbooks in order to educate. So that is excellent. For those of you out there who are writing a business book or educational book, or some type of nonfiction book where you're teaching us, whether it's self-help or just motivation, she's a perfect person to ask questions to tonight. So be sure to drop your questions. Laverne, please talk to us about your work. Tell us about yourself and tell us about your work.
Well, thank you, Michelle, and thank you for having me again. I had the privilege of participating in the festival last year with a book that I co-authored with 9 other women, which is My Walk Past Hell, Volume 3. This is my third book. My first book I wrote in 1997, which was featured in Essence Magazine. And the book that I have now that I launched about 6 weeks ago, the title is Me. I have been involved in politics for almost 20 years. I was a senior staffer for a United States Senator, and then I turned to be a top administrator for a parish, which you all would consider as a county. I'm also a Mimi as well, Ms. Divine, so I know what that's like to being a Mimi. And so now I have my own consulting firm where I specialize in everything regarding grant writing, fundraising, as well as lobbying work. And also started something called a concierge service where I work with top executives and connecting them with valuable resources and with people and whatever other services that they need to be able to grow and expand their businesses. So that's what I've been doing now for almost over a year. And I'm excited about participating again this year. I would tell you all, if you haven't participated in the festival, it is a delight. I had no idea what to expect when I participated last year, where I did a reading, and it was well attended. And Michelle has just done such an outstanding job and have given a platform for Black authors to be able to just display their work and their passion. So, Michelle, thank you so much for this opportunity. And just to talk a little bit about my book, the title of it is Me, because it's about me. And so the reason I wrote this book, when I did my TED Talk in 2023, I shared a very passionate story about my relationship with my adopted mother. And so I had began writing the book somewhat in my head, but I didn't put anything on paper. But I knew that it was time for me to begin to share some things about my past. It's 14 chapters. It's less than 100 pages, but it has some very interesting 14 stories from the time I was 14 years old where I was told something that really impacted my life into adulthood. I went through a number of challenges in my life, the ups and downs. But thanks God for His grace. It is really a heartfelt, and I'm saying this not from me. I'm actually saying this from people who have read my book and stated the fact that it is a heartfelt journey of someone who obviously had strong faith, was resilient, and triumphed over life's toughest challenges. And it's a story that, in my opinion, that I would hope that it would empower, inspire, as well as uplift, but most importantly, to remind us of the strength that we have within all of us. And so, again, I'm very thankful and grateful again, Michelle, for this opportunity.
Laverne, I'm so proud of what you're doing. I actually went to Laverne's book signing last week, and they're really excited to have her be a part of the Black Ink Book Festival again this year. She's going to be doing the reading in the garden. She's also going to be interviewed on stage by Monica Pierre, who is a four-time Emmy Award-winning reporter at the event. But I have a question for you because I know what this book is about, and we're not going to do any spoilers. So we want to make sure people go out and buy the book. But I will say that in order to write this level of a memoir, you have to get to a place where you can be, you have to be authentic. I mean, very authentic. How did you get to a place where you were comfortable enough to share the type of information about your life, your past, your pains, and your passions? That and do it in a way with such grace. How did you get to that place to do that
A
effectively?
very good question, Michelle. Actually, again, it started when I did that TED Talk. Because to those that don't know, I have worn a mask for a long, long time. And because of my life in politics, I did not want people to know a lot about my past. And so those who have known me for a number of years were quite shocked when they read the book because they had no idea. I have to say this though, Michelle, it took a lot of thought. I had to have some conversations with my children because there were things that happened in my life before they were born. And sometimes our children fail to realize that we had a life before they came into this world. And so, when you express things that they aren't aware of, it can be quite shocking. But I did get the permission from my children to expose my life. And it's quite interesting of all the things that I shared. It was also very painful as well, writing that book. And then I also had to think about, Michelle, what were people going to think, reading this book and it says, well, wow, really, Laverne? I mean, I've had individuals to just tell me, I'm just shocked. I can't believe that you actually went through all that. You see, where I was at the very bottom of life and see where I am today is really like a 363-degree turn, really. So, so anyway, writing this book was the deciding factor after I did my TED Talk, having a conversation with my children, praying and asking God for guidance and direction. And I just start writing. And I believe that there was a sign when I wrote that, when I was a co-author, because I actually began to tell the story in that book.
Mhm.
And then I knew that it was time. And so, yeah, I am. That's how it all started. And here we are.
Excellent, excellent. You are such an inspiration. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank
Anika,
you.
talk to us. We're happy to have new faces on the screen. And I do so many different things, the pen posse and workshops and all kinds of things. And I get to meet so many dynamic authors. So when I meet somebody new, and three of you I've never met before, I'm really excited to have you here. So tell us about yourself and tell us about your work.
Yes, thank you, Michelle, for having me. I'm happy to be amongst you all. So my name is Anika Prettyman. I am originally from Baltimore, Maryland, but I relocated down to Florida for the beaches. So I've been enjoying that. But my story and my work of art kind of starts with my 10 plus year career I had as a computer and systems engineering. And during that time, I realized how the job was stressing out my body. And it affected not only my performance at work, but my relationships in home and friends. And it had almost got to a point where I was, kind of trying to figure out, why am I in and out of the doctor's office all of the time? And, the doctors are telling you they can't figure out what's going on, or they're misdiagnosing you, or telling you have something that you don't have. And so when I got my diagnosis of PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome, I was just left in defeat because the doctors, they just tell you there's nothing we can do for you. They tell you it's a lifetime diagnosis, and we can give you this pill, we can give you that pill, all of these things to suppress whatever your conditions or your symptoms is, and they don't take the time out to literally sit with you and explain to you what's actually happening with your body and how to work through those symptoms. So I got to a point where I was just like, if I continue with engineering, it might take me out. So I decided to quit my job. And when I quit my job, I took about 2 years off, and I just traveled the world studying herbs, herbal medicine, herbal practices, and how to further connect with my body and heal myself, which brought me to founding my brand Positivity, which is a wellness group that supports women with PCOS who would like to heal their bodies naturally without, the doctors for putting you on about, multiple pills. And so with that, it forced me to write my book, which is Perseverance, Community, Origins, and Self-Discovery. So I'm a first-time author as well. And so in that book, I just kind of get very personal and vulnerable about how important it is as women to listen to our bodies. Because they talk to us and it gets kind of loud. And sometimes we tend to ignore those signs and those symptoms. And, unfortunately, we get extreme medical conditions that sometimes we can't turn back from. So in that book, I just kind of get very vulnerable and personal about my journey, how it affected me mentally, physically, emotionally, traveling across the world, participating in different ceremonial practices against different tribes and cultures, and how that essentially reversed my symptoms, if not eliminated most of them. And now I'm just a practicing herbalist, just trying to spread the word, help other women out, because it's a big issue, especially in the Black community. And we don't talk about it enough. So my main mission is just to create a safe place for us to be able to discuss that and, come together and just heal, because we need it.
I love this. Talk to us about, what was the one thing that you learned that you just had no idea about, that really shocked you about either health, herbs, or just the female body?
I would say how much our emotions play a part in how our body operates. And especially as women of color, we're taught you got to be tough and you got to go for it. And we have to, be strong and don't be so vocal. You'll be the angry Black woman. And, all of those things over time, it gets suppressed. We exhibit characteristics like people pleasing or lack of boundaries. And those things invite different diagnoses into our bodies. And that's why we have things like high blood pressure, diabetes, depression. I mean, it's a long list that we can go down, but and then we go to the doctor and we're like, what's going on? And then they give you all of these pills, when it's like, I've learned you really have to sit with yourself, and you really have to be honest with yourself and vulnerable in order to really heal your body the way that it should be.
You know what? We could talk all day long. I mean, I'm listening to you and I'm thinking about all the things that I've experienced over the last couple of years. I've just turned 50. And so I'm learning, about menopause and so many other things. And I'm learning also that a lot of our doctors are not taught to deal with things like menopause. And so you go to the doctor looking for advice. I had one doctor to tell me, if you think you're in menopause, you're in menopause. If I think it, really?
No.
So there's just so many things there that I would love to talk to you about. But because the first three of you are talking about nonfiction book writing, you're writing based on fact and research.
Yes.
And I think we got to talk about the soft life. So we'll put a pin in that. We're going to hear from KR, and then we're going to talk a little bit about the soft life, because I think that's where this conversation feels like it's going for me anyway. Is this idea of putting this information out into the world to heal, to educate, to inspire. But what is this doing for us as we're lifting all these pressures off of ourselves by putting it on the page and sharing it with the world and getting it out? So we'll talk about that. We want to first meet our children's book writer here, KR. So tell us about yourself and tell us about your work. You muted.
Okay, how you are? How's everybody doing?
Good.
Well, I love you talked about that soft life, because I was getting trapped into all those. I love what the other dialogue with other panelists were talking about. But I'm KR Duce Gonzalez. I have several pen names, and so, but I'm gonna stick with the one that we have on this book right here. And I originally, well, I live in Louisiana. Been here over 30 plus years now. Originally, we came from San Diego, California, military background. My father was in the military, and so we were called military brats. We did a little bit traveling back and forth, but when my parents divorced, we followed my mom here at that time to Louisiana. So we've been here years now, and so that kind of brought about some of the Louisiana aspects of the book, and just kind of partnering with the culture here, family here, traditions here. So that kind of brought about some of the other book that I wrote, Candy Cane and King Cake Academy. So I'll go ahead and show that here. And my background basically was social services, finished psychology, MBA, but I wanted to do something light. I'm always doing something serious and always trying to go deep. I said, I want to do, like you said, soft life. I want to do something light and fun. And so I've come from always, as a young person, reading, jotting down notes, loved poetry. I can remember walking to we lived on a military base, so there was always a library right in that area. I remember going there to the library, just spending hours in there with Hardy Boys, Nancy, through books. And so I loved writing, loved reading, loved doing poetry, loved English. And so that kind of pours into what I wanted to put with my story. So over the years, I start kind of documenting notes, and this book is kind of an inspiration to my daughter. Was 7 when I started writing this book. She's 37 now. Didn't want to put her age out there, but she's 37 now. So I have a few candy cane inspired books based off that time frame. I'm not going to say it's her because she wants to say it's her, but I can't or cannot deny because it's fiction. But she was definitely my inspiration for writing this book. And so, like you talk about the soft light, I wanted to do something soft, and I wanted to do something fun for my first novel, my first book as well. And so, I guess that's where I'll end with this one. When we go on more about the book.
So your book is a children's book, and what is the book about? Tell us a little bit about the book.
Candy Cane and King Cake Academy. This first one is about a 7-year-old who was excited about a fun day of arts and crafts at school. And so, it's kind of with the King Cake Academy, it kind of makes you pull into Mardi Gras. I wasn't trying to do Mardi Gras, but it has some Mardi Gras, aspects to it. That's part of the arts and crafts for that day. And so my person I was inspired by, my daughter was a busybody. She had all the friends and, coming home excited about stuff, Barbies, art. And so that was kind of the inspiration at that time. However, initially this book had more into it. But as I did a little social reading amongst my sister, my mom, my daughter, my niece, we did like a little read before I did the final print of it. And she was like, "Yeah, about 3 books in there, Mama. You're doing too much." You know what I was? I was going too serious. I said, "Let me soften this back up." I have about 3 other books out the one book, and we just focus on. And so, like I said, it was interesting putting it together. But yeah, it was inspired by just something fun, something light, something family friendly. Is what I wanted to do for my first children's book. I end up also doing my illustrations. Now, the words on this book, the words in the stories, the storytelling has been since she was 37, so she's 37 now. This has already been put in place. And so I had to come back with my now self and see if the story actually fit who I am now, if I want to tell the same story now. So some things had changed in there as well, you know, when I re-edited how I wanted to do it. But I started, you know, sketching things out. And before I knew it, I started getting some paint. You know, I'm thinking, wait, am I going to actually be able to illustrate this? And so, like I said, God gave me the ability to self-illustrate it as well. And so I'm excited about that piece as well.
Excellent. Thank you so much for being with us. For those of you out there, come out May 3rd. You can meet everyone on the screen. You can purchase their books. You can get to know them. You can learn more about them. That's what the Black Ink Book Festival is all about. And so we do encourage you to do that. And I see, KR, you got a lot of love in the comment area here. Everybody's
Thank you so much.
and I love it. So.
And the sidebar was I have so many pen names that some of them they're taking the code away from the KR. I do say they're taking the code away. So yeah.
That is excellent. Let's since it's just us and we've got a little time, we've got a good crew out there listening. I mean, we're going to talk about soft life as well, but I have a question about the writing process and what each of you had to unlearn in order to get these books out. Unlearn. And why I ask that question is because as writers, you know, this process isn't easy, first of all. You know, it shouldn't be hard. It should be fun. But as you said, you've been writing this over the last 30 years. It takes you getting beyond yourself to be able to put the book out there. So just chime in. What is it that you had to unlearn in order to get the book out, in order to be willing to get it published, to market it, and to even go out to these events and speak at events or, you know, host events, whatever it is that you're doing to market your book? Anybody want to chime in on that?
Yeah, I don't mind going. So I know for me, it was to get rid of imposter syndrome, and just simply stop doubting myself and not believing that this is a work of art that people actually need. And by me doing so much, I tried to fit everything in one book, and I was like, we don't have to do that. Like we can walk them through. Let's take them through a series and let's break it down how, you know, this actually affects ourselves in the body. And so in the writing process, I was just like, stop thinking that what you have going on isn't important. Stop thinking that nobody will listen. Stop thinking that you can't get it done. Because like I said, I'm a first-time author, so I don't know publishers and communities and how to get everything out there. So I literally had to just go and, again, figure it out without any doubt behind me, and just connect with people to really get my thoughts and my feelings on paper. So don't doubt yourself.
I love that. And that is so key. I know whenever I go somewhere and someone say, I heard you wrote a book, they're always so heavily impressed by the fact that I've written a book when I'm still getting to that place where I can even say that I am a writer. You know what I'm saying? Like, because you have, like you said, the imposter syndrome. I've written 3 books and I'm still someone who shies away from telling people that I've written a book. And that's something I have had to overcome. So, you know, that unlearn process is so important because it's those things that we have to unlearn that have blocked us to getting to where we need to go. So anyone else? Ms. Devine, I think you opened up your mic. You wanted to.
Yeah, it's very similar. And I think it's the idea that something has to be perfect for you to actually publish it. And that mindset, although it's good because we want to do our best work, it has its place. But sometimes if we're not careful, it can, you know, override our ability of just getting the work out there. So I think that's something that I had to unlearn. It's just tell the story, tell the experiences, what we have to share, whether it's in the form of a memoir or a nonfiction or even a children's book. I believe in the idea that it's called and it's blessed, and if God has called us to that thing, then it's just our job to go out, do the best that we can with it, and let God do the rest and not have those limitations on us. I think it's very, very important.
Excellent. Yes, absolutely. Anybody else? Laverne, the KR, you want to chime in on that?
I'll add one little piece if you don't mind. What got me started at first was I want to show, I'm going to bring these to the fair as well, are my planners. My first work was my planners. And I have three of them, like for a 90-day work type cycle. So I I discovered that I wanted to do this like I like to kind of doodle at lunch break. And so inside is like a part for planning, it's also like a coloring book, and it's like a scripture. So it's kind of, multifunctional. And so it took me a lot to put that out. And then, I ended up going like number one that week on Amazon. I'm like, oh, wait, for these ways, is this me? So they must have sold a lot that week because, I had a lot of support from family and friends. They were buying them. So, they were like, okay, my sister, she's always one of my biggest, okay, Arthur. I'm like, Arthur, really? Can I be from the planner? And so, like Mr. Anika said, that imposter syndrome, you're always trying to wonder, am I an imposter? But, again, if you have something you want to share or tell, just do it. And God, again, gave me, like Salida, the inspiration to do it. And I realized that if it doesn't leave you, if it just keeps staying with you all these years, you must have something that you need to do. Tell the story,
Absolutely.
put the vision out there. I don't think God would keep you in bondage with these different visions and ideas all these years if he didn't want you to, to put them out there.
I love that. I love that. Laverne, you want to chime in?
Yes, thank you. I think we're all pretty much saying the same thing in regards to being concerned about what one of my things was being concerned about what people were going to say. Now that was a real issue for me. And I had to unlearn, right? I had to recondition my thought process and say, I know that this is this is part of my purpose. And I had to continue to say that. And then the other thing of it is, and I learned this from Monica Pierre, actually, Michelle, is the fact that don't be ashamed when you can say you're a best-selling author. That was one of the things that, people would compliment me and they say, oh, Laverne, you're a best-selling author. And I really didn't know how to respond to that because, we're so conditioned, and the fact that we don't take compliments because we think that we're being conceited, or the fact that we're, think that we're of a certain level. But, at the end of the day, we put a lot of work into this, and other people have looked at and read our work and appreciate it, and the fact that we have been given that title, then we have to figure out how we can use that to our benefit. And it's another marketing tool. So it was Monica that taught me that, and I embraced it, but I still have that feeling, like Michelle the other night at my book signing, right? I was standing there looking at all these people in line. It was like, are they here from me? It was really it was emotional for me. I had to take a day to regroup, because it's, when you lived in a life of lack of self-esteem, and even at my age, I still have those challenges, right? And trying to overcome that. It's really hard to believe that good things can really happen, that you can be very favored by God, and be successful in a definition of way, the spiritualness of success. It's really hard for me to embrace that. And so I'm learning. I really am learning how to embrace compliments, titles, and being able to know that you have accomplished something that is really part of your purpose. And so, I'm still work in progress, but still got a lot to unlearn, but I'm unlearning.
I love that. I love what you said, and I love what everyone said. That is so great. It just makes me think about, this year doing the Black Ink Book Festival. This was my hardest year to put it together. In the prior, in 2023, 2024, we had so many authors, we had to literally shut down the application process because we had so many people interested. This year, because of politics, people are worried about losing their jobs. People are worried about what's around the corner for them economically. It became a tougher year, but I just wanted to do this for this very reason, to be able to share this moment with all of you all the writers out there who have put so much of themselves into the work. And most of the women, most of the people who are coming are women, which is like I have a huge number of female writers, and that's why I thought when Anika mentioned about taking care of yourself, I'm like, I can't have these women on the screen and we not talk about this soft life. And the fact that I did a pen posse a couple of months ago, and I couldn't believe the number of Black women saying, I just want the soft life. And I'm going, what is that? I literally didn't even know what it was. And then we began to talk about what we're doing to make our worlds more comfortable, easier, less work, less struggle. And you may think, you're writers, guys, you guys are all up for you got to organize your thoughts, you got to get these things together. But these works of art are part of who we are, right? It's just a part of it's created within us, and it's part of who I am. I know my work is, and I absolutely love it. Let's talk a little bit about these books and how it is allowing us to go after that soft life and to find and to research and to discover things about this world that are impactful, that can help the community as a whole. And I think about your work, Ms. Divine, when I look at, you're talking about education, you're trying to take these teachers to the next, these educators to the next level. And Laverne, with your book, you're trying to inspire people, share your story, maybe keep someone from going down a similar path, but also helping them to understand that they can overcome all hard times. And Anika, my goodness, when we talk about health at this age, there are so many things that I'm learning of that I have to research on my own. And not, you have to really, there are health disparities. We know there's a lot of racism and discrimination in the healthcare industry, and there is an prescription. Our culture is all about medicine, and we know that there's got to be different ways to do it. And KR, as a children's book author, you are making a huge commitment to our kids. So let's talk about this: the books, the writing, the soft life, and what's next for us as writers. After the book fair, after this year ends, what's next for us, so we don't stop writing and we start to inspire a lot of other people to write? So that's a very loaded question, but I just wanted to get that all out. And let's just start talking about these books and what we're trying to do to build our community. So Anika, let's start with you. I mean, you've done a lot already, the research. Talk to us a little bit about that research and how, if someone else wants to do what you've done, where do they start?
I could tell you where not to start, and that is social media. Because I know when I initially got diagnosed, again, in the Black community, we don't really talk about health. So when I first got diagnosed, I was reaching out to everybody. I'm like, do you have PCOS? Do you know what PCOS is? How do we do this? And everyone was like, oh no, I don't know what that is. And I don't know. And I'm just like, okay. So I went to like Instagram and TikTok and Facebook, and I'm listening to so many people talk about their experiences and how to take this pill and that powder. And I did it because I'm like, oh my God, they said I can't get rid of it. It messed me up even more. And so I said, wait, there has to be something else to do that doesn't require me to go buy something off of Amazon or, seek a pill. And so what I ended up doing was simply just sitting with myself and trying to determine, why am I even in this position in the first place? And I had a life, like I said, I was an engineer, so I had a life of stress. So my soft life came from not wanting to be stressed. So what did I have to do to get that stress out of me? And so I had to learn what my stressors were and what was causing the stress, because by the time I was 30, I had already had 2 cases of Bell's palsy and a stroke. And I just turned 30 April the 4th. So I'm fresh in the 30 club. So I experienced all of this so young. So I had to learn what was causing these things and how they affected my body. And like I said, my career was one of them. I realized that I was an emotional eater, so my plate wasn't healthy. I had to learn just what factors around me in regards to health were causing these issues. Because essentially, PCOS is a hormone disruptor, and we don't even realize our daily activities influence and impact our hormones. So just really learning about the body in itself, and changing my career from engineer to herbalist.
Everybody come out, get her book. I'm coming to get that book. So
Yes.
you see me coming, I'm coming. You guys come by and get her book, get a signed copy of it. That's just excellent. Anybody else want to just chime in on going after this soft life, and actually what did you have to learn? Or we talked about what you unlearned, but what did you have to learn in order to get to this place where you felt this confidence to put this information on the page? And that's a big deal to be a writer. And so that's why I'm asking this question. It's not no one just wakes up and writes 100 pages of a book, right, Laverne? They don't just wake up and do that. Right? So no.
For me, I guess I'm gonna call it soft life again. As I say, just me things, making it more light and fun with the children's book, because I love to go really deep with my psychology major. I like to overthink. I'm an analyzer, so like Miss Laverne, her testimony is drawing me in, because some of us probably share some of those same testimonies, and so that's who I naturally am. I like to go deep, but my soft life is trying to do something fun, light and easy, and still be authentic and transparent. Because actually, while it's a children's book, I dedicated this book to my daughter, and so I had to kind of, like I love Anika, which is one of my words, sit with myself and see how I wanted to put it out, where it's a kid's book. So don't go too deep, just keep it kid friendly. But I wanted to show this book was really dedicated to my daughter, and it was and it's also, I just want to word it, it's my parenting do-over. So I live with, I wish I should have done that different. I wish I would have done. So this is my do-over to any parent that wish they had a do-over. That's what this book is about. And so it has, nice endings. You're doing your prayers together. It has a fun activity. And so, me just having to sit with myself, go into prayer. My sister does a lot of counseling, and she's not a counselor, so she does a lot of counseling. My mother, my aunt, family members praying and just motivating you to keep going. But in particular, I'm gonna say my sister has pushed me this whole way through to put the book out. Just let it be easy, let it be, like you say, soft. Give myself grace. I'm a beater up of myself, so I had to give myself grace to put the book out. And even now, just give yourself some grace. And so it could be a fun, like I said, more of a fun process. I have 3 candy canes that I have already jotted down, noted, almost finished, illustrated. And so I want to, again, make those family friendly, tell cultural and Louisiana type stories with it. And so, like I said,
So
my
good.
journey is
Tell
kind
your
of just
tell your sister we said thank you for
Thank
all
you.
of her.
She's on here too, so yes, I thank her and I love her. And before, when it was my sister, my mother, my aunt have always, but my sister in particular, she's pushed me so much to do the candy cane book. So definitely, thank you.
Well, everybody come out and be sure to go by KR's table and purchase her books and her planners. I'm really excited to see those planners, the journals,
And
and so.
also in Espanol, I have them in Spanish as well.
Oh, excellent. That is excellent. I love that. So we're definitely going to come out and support you. It's just so great to have you here. And so thank you so much, ladies. I just appreciate Ms. Divine or Laverne, if you want to add anything else before we get into everyone, give a few words of encouragement to our writers out there. We would love to do that and give some final talks or final words on the event. So it's more than just the book fair that we're having. We're having some other events as well, but I'm going to get into that. So if you would like to talk a little bit about that soft life, and Laverne, you're putting so much of yourself on the page. Were you able to exhale after the book was out?
Yes, I actually celebrated by myself. I had drank the entire bottle of champagne. It was much deserving because it took me a little bit over a year, 13 months to write this book, and actually I had to take a break. because it was just a lot of pain that I was revisiting. But one of the interesting things, and I shared this with a colleague of mine, is that I have rediscovered my feelings, my emotions that I was unable to express during that time.
Mhm.
And it's quite interesting, like postpartum depression. I asked myself, did I actually have postpartum depression? Because when you're depressed, you don't really know that you have postpartum depression, right? When I went through some very dramatic experiences, now as I'm older, I am actually revisiting those emotions, which is quite interesting. And so I said, do I need to go back to therapy to try to understand what is, what's really happening here? Because like I said, I'm rediscovering myself, and it's really a good thing. It's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. I just wish that I had done this, maybe 10 years ago, but timing is everything. So this is the copy. I don't know if you can you see it? Yeah, this is the
Yes.
copy of my
Mhm.
book, me.
Beautiful cover.
And
Mhm.
one of our very popular photographers here in New Orleans. And so I took a break, but now I'm being pressured, as you know, and as you heard at my book signing, that people want a part two. So it's kind of like what Miss is it Petterman is how you pronounce your last name?
Pretty.
Pretty much.
Pretty man.
Mhm.
Pretty man. I didn't put everything in there. And so now people are like, well, let's do a part two. So I think I'm going to do a Me Too. And so I'm excited about that, but I really don't know when I'm going to do it because right now I'm really focused on, empowering, inspiring women
Mhm.
because my whole objective here is about hope. Even when I was hopeless, I still wanted to try to figure out a way that I can give people hope so that they wouldn't have to feel the same pain and disappointment and shed an ocean of tears that I did for so many years.
Excellent. Excellent. Once again, everybody come out May 3rd to meet Laverne, to hear her read from her book, Me, her memoir. Also, she's going to be interviewed on stage by Monica Pierre, who's going to be interviewing a few authors. So thank you to everyone. We see this great message here from Miss Divine. This is awesome from Bobby Coleman. He said, make sure you go out and purchase her book. It's an amazing read, not only for those in education, but for anyone looking to better themselves as a human being. What an amazing review of your book. So congratulations on that. That is excellent. What we want to do now is to give everybody an opportunity to give a few words of encouragement to our readers and our writers. Because it's important. The Black Writers Workspace, 17,000 readers and writers. We're here to just help each other put these books out into the world. I started it back in 2020 and I curate the page, and we have so many activities. We have book fairs and workshops and master classes. And you can find all of that on our website at blackwritersworkspace.com. However, the goal here is to just make sure we're nurturing as many writers as possible. So let's give a few words of encouragement. And I'm going to start with you. We're going to start with you, Ms. Divine, so you can lay out to everyone. Just give them some good words of encouragement to keep them writing. And then for our readers, let's not only inspire them, but also tell them what you're going to be doing at your booth if you have more than your books that you're offering. So if you want to do giveaways or you're going to have other items, let them know that as well.
Okay. I was thinking previously when you were always talking about the soft life, like how can I actually connect the soft life with an educational book? But anybody that knows someone in education or knows anything about education, you know that teachers are coming and going. And it's really like an epidemic where teachers are coming in and they're not staying more than 3 years. And so this book basically is going to help those who are coaching teachers get to the point where they can have a soft life within the classroom. And it's so interesting. Today, I was actually in a classroom where I was somewhat modeling for a teacher. And I told the students, hey, I'm going to get softer. I don't want to yell. I'm not going to yell. And so just giving teachers those specific strategies to have that soft life, and hopefully in the classroom, and hopefully that will actually, keep educators doing what they do best, which is educating. My words of encouragement would basically be, if you can conceive it and believe it, then you can achieve it. And that is anyone who's in education, anyone who has any type of goal, whatever it is. If you can muster up the thought and you can believe in it, then there's nothing that you cannot do. And so at the table, of course, you'll have copies of the book for purchase. And as I said, this is my first book. I've learned a lot through the process of writing this book, and I'm super excited about that and the continued growth as a writer. In addition to just being able to purchase the book, we'll have some activities, some games in order for you to get some coaching planners, some free PDFs with coaching tips. We'll have some photo op opportunities as well. So lots of things that we can engage in. And one of the things as well, just on the spot coaching tips. So like I said, it is geared towards educators, but honestly, the tips can relate to anyone who is in charge of leading and guiding adults. So how can we do that? Because the technique and the skill set that it takes to get adults to move can be somewhat different. And so you'll have an opportunity to ask questions really regardless of what field you're in. And we can do some on the spot coaching sessions as well.
Excellent, excellent. Thank you so much. And that's why I brought up the soft life, because a lot of times people don't think of Black women when they think about the soft life, but we want that too. And I love that you're connecting it to the classroom, because we are losing a lot of our teachers. And we have to reimagine our educational system. We have to reimagine a lot of systems in order to make space for a new way of doing things, because the old way has become, as Ms. Anika mentioned, it's been very stressful. These jobs are very stressful. Our home lives are getting very stressful. So anything that we can do to help our families, our women, our men, to go after a very softer experience, one that's less stressful, I think we should do it. So thank you so much for being with us. And I look forward to meeting you at the event. Laverne, would you like to give a few words of encouragement to our writers and readers?
Yes, of course, Michelle, thank you so much for setting up this platform for us to express and talk about our books, but not only, again, having a platform for Black authors to showcase their work. And, you and I'm saying this because it's encouraging when we have someone like a Michelle and others that are willing to allow us an opportunity to express ourselves. And so, what I want to do is to encourage people to support her and support her efforts and what she's doing, because this is rare. And I'm going to be negative and positive here. One is, it's a little difficult out here. People who you expect to help you a lot of times can somewhat disappoint you. And so I want to say that just go into it knowing that whatever God has for you is for you. And I had to learn that the hard way, even when I did my TED Talk, right? And so again, let's support each other. I am just excited about meeting the three of you, the two of you. I'm looking forward to reading your books, the three of you, and support you. And I think it's important as Black folks, we got to support one another. Mm-hmm. And we got to continue to figure out how we can uplift, empower, and inspire each other. And so again, Michelle, thank you so very much for this opportunity. And I'm really looking forward to supporting our Black authors and just commending them on their efforts, because this is not an easy task to write a book and to be able to express yourself and put yourself out there. But at least individuals like us and others have done that, and many have been very successful in it. And so just let's continue to empower and inspire each other to be a support to one another. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Laverne. You have been such a wonderful friend and a great support. And I do encourage everyone to come out to get to meet you. But I do appreciate everything that you said. I love what I do. I love working with authors, and I'm not going to stop, no matter what. So I just am so grateful for this opportunity to host this event. So thank you so much. Anika, you would like to give some words of encouragement?
Yes. Some words that I have is to listen to yourself. Pray, meditate, do whatever you feel is necessary to have that alone time with yourself to really determine what your purpose is in life. Because I know that it is very easy to get distracted. Again, with what's going on in the world, politics, friends, family, spouse, it's very easy to get off track. I also would say to just do what's on your heart, show up as your authentic self, and be true to yourself, because you do not have to do what society tells you have to do. The world is big. The opportunities are big. To piggyback off the community, there's always someone somewhere that can help you, that can assist you, that can guide you, that can even just be of support to you. So truly just believe in yourself and listen to yourself and walk that path towards your purpose. That is very, very, very important as you navigate through life, because it can get a little distraught trying to do what everybody wants you to do and be who everybody wants you to be. So yes.
Well, thank you so much. We are so happy that you're healthy, and that's what's important. I love what you're doing. Your health is your wealth. And so thank you so much for your research and what you're doing. Looking forward to meeting you and coming to your table. And thank you also for coming out to the Black Ink Book Festival.
Thank you.
KR?
Okay. I guess to the writers, I would just encourage them to, if you have a story, in your spirit that you've been with for, go ahead and put it out. I self-published, as we all say that we did, I believe. I'm not sure if Mr. Byrne may not have. I'm not sure, but we did the grammar. It was editing, and so you're trying yourself back and forth. I would just say, stick with it. At least get the story out. If there's a story, like Toni Morrison said, the story that you haven't read yet, you need to write it so you can tell it. So that was one of the things that I stood on for a writer. Also, I was reading this book since last year with Admiral William McRaven, Make Your Bed. It's an encouragement on how to just put your plan in place every day. The first thing you got to do is make your bed. I've had some different challenges with surgeries over the last years, and I had to just wake up and just get up, do my routine, wash up, so just get up, wake up, go to your plan, write whatever you have to put down and just eventually get that out. There's a story, like I said, if God gave you a story or a vision, just stick with that and put it out, like I said, give ourselves grace, to do that piece. The other part was with Galatians, don't get weary and well doing. If you faint not, I stood on that and I still stand on that one. And because for the readers, because my bigger mission, not just making it fun, but I also want to promote literacy. I've been doing writers meet and greets around the town, around, here in my area in Louisiana. I always don't see people of color in the bookstore. I'm like, where are we? We're not reading, we're not writing, we're not even writing cursive no more, but that's another conversation. I couldn't believe that one. But, so I've been trying to do things at the library. We're going to do the book club this summer. We usually do a book club every month, but it got kind of tedious for everybody to kind of chime in. So I said, let's just do it, start again with this summer. And so we're hoping to get that kicked off for the summer to promote reading and literacy. So that's what I want to do for the readers. We need you all to read. We used to read Go See Jack Up the Hill. So this is a very, like I said, a very easy read. It's a fun read. It's not a bunch of social issues to deal with. It's just a fun family read. So I wanted to make that intentionally for my first one. Like I said, I wanted to also dedicate it to my daughter, for a parenting do-over. I wanted to make it light and fun and, because it's some things in there that happened for real at her school at that time that I, kind of inspired by. And so, like I said, for the writers, just stick to your story, put it out, and for the readers, we need you all to read. We want you to read to be able to comprehend, tell a short story back, tell me how you feel about it. Let you write a story, so that's my mission on that. At the Black Ink, we're gonna have, for sure the books, some cool bookmarks. We hopefully have some giveaways, maybe some t-shirts, some pencils, some fun stuff like that. And again, engaging conversation. I may have some free book giveaways for sure. And that's what we have so far. May have some other surprises coming up if we can get things done timely.
Excellent. Thank you so much,
Thank
everybody.
you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being with us. So if you're out there, come to City Park, free event. We do ask that you pre-register on Eventbrite. You can see the URL at the bottom of the screen. And come out and help us celebrate literacy by purchasing books and meeting authors. We have Reading in the Garden. We also have this year, we will have the Annette Library, and it is a space set aside in honor of my aunt who recently passed, and she was a librarian. And so we're going to give away free books, and you'll know how you can get those free books when you enter. There will be a drawing, and we're going to give away dozens and dozens of free books. So please come out. We also have free bags, free tote bags for the first 100 attendees. And this year, we are also doing our first short film premiere. So the event is from 11 to 3. The premiere is from 1 to 3. We do ask that you come out. We've got 5 short films, all by Black filmmakers, and we're going to be showing those in a space next to the building where the book fair will take place. You are welcome to attend. And then two more things, rather. The night before, we're going to have martinis and manuscripts, and that's going to be at the Baroness Baroon Lounge in New Orleans. So if you're interested in that, you can also find out about it on Eventbrite. And we will, for those parents out there, if you have kids interested in filmmaking, we will be doing the on the set celebrity film camp auditions that morning from 9 until 12. All this is happening in the Botanical Gardens. It's going to be an amazing event. So if you're interested in getting your kid in the film camp, it is a 1-week film camp in June, but you have to audition on May 3rd. And so if you need some information about that, I'll put my email address in the comment area. So again, thank you so much, ladies. Please don't go anywhere. I think Ms. Divine, we're going to put her back on the screen. Sorry about that. So she may have fallen off. We're going to give everybody, just a time to say goodbye. And for those of you on the screen, thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. We're going to stop the live stream, but we will continue. I'm going to also give you a formal farewell. So thank you to all of the guests who dropped comments and questions, and they're still coming in. I'm going to put up a few just so you can see them.
Miss Michelle, can I add?
Sure.
You've made my Roland Martin experience come to pass, because I've been watching a lot of Black media lately with all the I know Reese Waters and Roland. So now we're doing our Roland Martin with us on the panel, and I love this. So thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. This has been great. And thank you to everyone out there dropping your comments and questions. And you guys have a great night. And I will see you on May 3rd. Find me to say hello if you're out there watching this tonight. So take care.
Thank you so much.